Coming up on this edition of the newsfeed, we'll take a look at a new primary clinic being set up at Warm Hearth Village.
Plus, an in-depth look at violent communities and how they impact mental health of young Black men.
And the impact Fort Concord has on local wineries. Those stories and more are just ahead.
Roll A, take A.
Hello and thanks for joining us on this edition of the newsfeed. I'm Mike Liu.
And I'm Taylor Brooks.
As people age, it becomes harder to find ways to access primary health care on a regular basis. With issues such as travel, the elderly can't always go the distance to find doctors. Warm Hearth Village, a Blacksburg retirement home, has recently taken steps to combat this issue. Newsfeed reporter Avery Lang has more on this report.
Village is a community that is home to many elderly in the Blacksburg community. Recently, the village took an initiative to give their residents easy access to regular health care. They partnered with Carilion Clinic to open a primary health care program. It is currently open 3 days a week and is giving the residents easier access to their health care needs.
We wanted to find a way to make care convenient for our citizens here up in the New River Valley, and most specifically for our citizens here in Warm Hearth. So as we expand primary care presence in the area, this seemed a natural direction to go.
The clinic will provide many different services to the residents. This clinic has special importance to the residents because as elderly, they have constraints when it comes to finding transportation to clinics. The Carilion Clinic takes away this issue of transportation.
Well, just like when we don't feel well, we don't want to go far to get to our physician, and it's a long ways for them to go. Transportation is sometimes an issue. So lots of different things pulled into this decision to make it here and to take care of those residents that are here.
All residents of the Warm Hearth Village are welcome to visit the clinic for their health care needs. This is Avery Lane reporting for the newsfeed.
In other health news, newsfeed reporter Eric Liu joins us in the newsroom with a story about violence and mental health, and how growing up in violent communities can have an effect on the mental health of young Black men. Eric?
Thanks, Taylor. Rapper Nipsey Hussle passed away on March 31st outside of his own clothing store, The Marathon. The impact of his death stirred up many conversations on gang violence. The 33-year-old rapper was even supposed to meet up with the LA Police Department the day after his death.
You know, the death of someone is impactful when Barack Obama sends out a letter of solidarity. That is the impact of Nipsey Hussle.
I really I question how that could happen in his own community, where he's trying to help, while he was actually just helping somebody. That's just crazy, but that just shows you, man, how precious life is.
Nipsey Hussle owned real estate in his local city of Crenshaw. He owned both a clothing store and a science and tech center for underprivileged youth.
I heard that Crenshaw mixtape and how very influential he was, his movement with his clothing line and the type of moves he was making in his community. So to hear his passing that day, I was amazed.
Nipsey Hussle was a martyr for his own local community. His actions echo out what a lot of leaders are saying in the hip-hop and rap community, which is that young Black men need more resources and opportunities to help them thrive in an environment that is filled with gang violence and that struggles with mental health.
As young Black men, a lot of times, as soon as we come out the womb, as a Black born, we come out with 2 strikes. The odds are against us. I've been there where, they feel like you won't be college material or you won't make it past high school. A lot of things within young Black males, we deal with that. We deal with those stigmas or those stereotypes.
According to Mental Health America, African Americans are 20% more likely to report serious psychological distress than adult whites, and those living below poverty are 3 times more likely to report that psychological distress than those living above poverty. Nipsey Hussle's death has fostered conversations on how to grow from these statistics.
Putting money into those communities, giving them more extracurricular activities, more, not just the basic things, in some places don't even have the basic things, and that's the issue. You know, like some places really don't even have just little, I don't know, hobbies for kids to pick up that are positive, you know, and I think that's a start.
As we can see, violent communities tend to have a major impact on mental health in Black communities. I'm Eric Lee reporting. Now back to you at the news desk.
Thanks, Eric. The Department of Planning controls all of the resident zoning for houses in Blacksburg. There are certain restrictions on how many unrelated people can live in a house and consequences for those who exceed those restrictions. Newsfeed reporter Emily Love has more on this story.
The Planning and Building Department of Blacksburg deals with all the residential zoning in the town. This specifically applies to off-campus housing through apartments and single-home units. Inspections are done 24 hours after the department is notified that a violation may be occurring. Kaylee Pulowski, a junior at Virginia Tech, currently lives in a 3-bedroom home with 5 roommates.
I mean, I guess they just kind of assume that we're aware of the rule of the 3 unrelated people living in the house and just kind of think that we would obey the rules, but we have enough space to have 5 people living here and it makes the rent cheaper, so.
If caught in violation of a zoning restriction, fines are given out. Tenants and property managers are given 10 days to comply, or else these fines raise in price until an overall amount of $5,000 has been given out per unit.
I'm here at the Blacksburg Motor Company building, where the Planning Department of Blacksburg meets. Last night, they held a presentation with the Citizens Institute discussing what each member of the department does from start to finish during a development and how rezoning and zoning districts affect this.
So I, try to make in person, and if not, a zoning violation letter goes out. And it explains, the occupancy rules for the zoning district. It gives 10 days to correct the violation, and then after the 10 days, civil penalties can start.
This is Emily Love reporting for the Newsfeed.
Last summer, a team of paleontologists led by Virginia Tech's Michelle Stocker and Sterling Nisbet, in collaboration with the National Park Service, discovered a Jurassic frog fossil. The Asian frog hip bone was found in the Chen Li Formation near the Petrified Forest National Park in Arizona, and will help further examine the Jurassic ecosystem. Although the fossil is just the size of an eyelash, there is more than meets the eye. Dating back 215 million years ago, the prehistoric relic gives scientists insight on the national park's ancient biome and frog skeletal and behavioral evolution. The fossil fills a 60 to 70 million year geological gap, getting researchers one step closer to discovering when frogs first hop around on lily pads.
This might have been the oldest frog that could jump, or at least it's the oldest one that we know of right now. But we still have a huge fossil record gap there between 215 and 250, where they may have evolved that hopping locomotion, and we just don't know yet.
The team will return to the park this summer in hopes to fill in this 35 million year geological gap that still exists. To go along with that, researchers aim to uncover fossils for the earliest salamanders, mammals, and really small Tyrannosaurus in that locality as well. Just ahead on the newsfeed, an inside look on what mechanics suggest before making a long road trip.
And how a local event helps bring attention to Blacksburg local wineries. That story and more after this break.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back to the newsfeed. I'm Taylor Brooks.
And I'm Mike Liu.
Saving at-risk horses is all part of the job at a local farm. Winter Frost Farm in Radford does its part to rehabilitate horses, while also enriching the community through various programs. Winter Frost Farm is a volunteer-based operation. They work to find horses in dangerous, unhealthy, or overall neglectful situations, with hopes of rescuing and rehabilitating them, and eventually finding them a home. One of Winter Frost's programs is Rider Rescue, where both horse enthusiasts and horse novices can take rescued horses on trail rides. This helps the horses as much as it helps the riders. The proceeds from trail rides and other events held at the farm go directly into caring for and feeding the horses. Since this is a nonprofit organization, the farm encourages anyone with an interest in horses to donate, volunteer, and help these horses find their forever homes.
Summer is upon us, and with it, graduation. This means students are beginning to leave school or planning to go on a vacation. However, many people are not entirely familiar with the general car upkeep needed before driving on long car trips. There are many parts that make a car go, but maintaining only a few of them can help give you the best performance. The first part is to check the oil levels. First, pull up your hood and use the dipstick to look at the oil levels. However, you can typically wait until reaching 3,000 to 5,000 miles after your last oil change.
Important to probably just check all your fluids. Oil, number 1, coolant, number 2, then like brake fluid, power steering fluid, just to make sure the car is not overheating.
Other car tips include making sure your air filters are cleanly inserted and checking tire pressure. If you look inside the door frame on the driver's side of your vehicle, there is a chart. On the chart are the listed tire pressure levels for all 4 wheels. All of these tips will improve fuel efficiency, but having your tires at the correct levels can improve fuel efficiencies by more than 3%. Local wineries get their chance at interacting with their customers during Blacksburg's 11th annual Fork and Cork Festival. 40-degree weather did not stop wine lovers from venturing out to this all-day event. This face-to-face contact with customers is something winery owners value greatly. Newsfeed reporter Courtney Flickinger has more on this report.
Winery owners from across the New River Valley area prepare hundreds of bottles of wine yearly to attend tasting festivals. On April 20th, nearly 30 different wineries packed their trucks and head to the 11th annual Blacksburg Fork and Cork, where they uncorked many different wines for the attendees to try. Haley Tate, a first-time attendee of the festival, offers her insight on how this face-to-face contact with the owners changes her perspective of the wine experience.
So I wanted to, see the vendors or the people who make the wine in person. I think it'd be really cool to, really see who's making the wine instead of when you go to the store, you just don't know who's making it. And when you come out here, you just really get the community comes together.
Most interactions with winemakers are typically made just by customers buying this product in store and deciding whether or not they like it. By seeing the winemaker in person and talking with the owners, a closer relationship is built with the wine. Many winery owners were thrilled to discuss their wines with the tasters and were even more excited to see their reaction to the wine right in front of them. Jackie Sobieski, the owner of Virginia Mountain Vineyards, says events like this help them get more customers who might not normally know about their vineyard.
Sometimes people don't even know we exist, and so from an advertising standpoint, it allows us to get exposure to a broad set of people in a fairly narrow amount of time. You just learn so much that not only helps us make better products, but also understand how people are perceiving our wines.
This has been Courtney Flickinger reporting for the Newsfeed.
That will wrap up this edition of the Newsfeed. If you have a story idea for the Newsfeed, let us know. Send us an email at thenewsfeed@gmail.com. And as always, you can also connect with the Newsfeed on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks for watching. I'm Mike Liu.
And I'm Taylor Brooks.
Hey Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry, I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your closet. Still no jobs? Just more stuff? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Our job is to unlock those jobs. And it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Roll A, take A.
Hello, and thanks for joining us for this edition of the Newsfeed. I'm Ben Anderson.
And I'm Maddie Ide. Each semester, undergraduate students at Virginia Tech have the opportunity to participate in research. Students across all disciplines engage in research with some of the university's most involved professors. At the end of each year, the Office of Undergraduate Research holds a conference where students will have the opportunity to present their work to the public. Newsfeed reporter Emily Marr has more on this report.
Many undergraduate students at Virginia Tech are unaware of the possibility of doing research in their undergrad years. The Office of Undergraduate Research provides students with information on how they can get involved in research of their favorite topics and how they can present their work at the end of their project.
Would I encourage them to? Absolutely. It's not something that I ever would have thought of as an undergraduate student. Of course, that was a long time ago, because I don't think I would have had the confidence to do that without someone telling me that I would be good at it. So I think the more students are aware of this is awesome. And I think the more of us who know about it, who can get them aware of it and tell them that it's something that is doable, I think would be good.
Research at Virginia Tech isn't just for grad students here. All students can participate in doing research and opening many doors.
It's probably one of the best things I've done in college. I say that because I have been able to do the most through this research. Like, when I say that, I mean, like, I have been able to use a lot of my core classes and apply them.
Doing research can hold many opportunities such as course credit, networking, presenting at conferences, and so much more. This is Emily Marr reporting for the Newsfeed.
Local rescue squads are looking to hire college students for part-time work. Christiansburg Rescue regularly employs college students as EMTs. EMT training involves 3 levels of expertise, which takes up to 4 to 5 months to complete. Rescue squads are looking for someone who is passionate about saving lives, but also able to balance work and student life.
You have to have a lot of time management, being a full-time student, and then knowing that you have to, run rescue shifts or be on duty during the week. It can get hard and it can get overwhelming, so it's just realizing that when you're here, you're present, and you're here and you're focused on doing this. This is my job for the night. And when I'm at school and focused at school, I'm not worried about things here.
It takes a lot more to be an EMT than passing tests. If you're interested in this line of work, go to christiansburg.org for more information.
It's almost summertime here in Blacksburg, and soon students will be packing up to leave town. The only thing most students are leaving behind is an empty apartment. Regardless of summer plans, rent will still be due at the end of every month. To save money, residents can look to sublease their place. Newsfeed reporter Will Hewlett has more in this report.
As May approaches, residents of apartments and townhomes in Blacksburg have a lot on their minds. Subleasing is typically not one of the major worries, but leaving behind an empty apartment means paying rent and utilities for an additional 3 months. Many students choose to pay the rent without attempting to sublease. Virginia Tech junior Charlie Hyman discusses his experiences as an apartment resident for 2 years now.
Definitely there's some big disadvantages of not getting people to sublease your apartment. Last year, I didn't get anyone to sublease and had to pay 3 months of rent, which was about $600. That was a big waste of money.
Jessica Ross, an employee at the Village, tells us how students find ways to fill their empty rooms.
We don't find as many people looking for housing at this time as we do people trying to give up their housing for summer. So it's definitely one of those things where we have kind of a running list and we'll try and get them in contact with our current residents, but we can't guarantee it. So most of them, they'll post on like Facebook pages or Craigslist and find people that way. So I'd say probably 90% of our subleases, the resident actually finds who's going to take over their space for them.
Residents leaving must work hard to advertise their apartment or room. In this case, Facebook becomes a very valuable tool. Reporting for the newsfeed, I'm Will Hewlett.
Just ahead on the newsfeed, we check on the newly revamped ACC Network studio and control room that's ready to launch.
And why chicken and non-chicken owners in Blacksburg can be excited about this new law. That story and more after this break.
Here's to the things that can keep us safe. Those we use all the time with hardly a thought. Those that are silently standing by to save our lives. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere we go. Many mobile devices will now bring you wireless emergency alerts, real-time information directly from local sources you know and trust. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know wherever you are.
Welcome back to the newsfeed. I'm Ben Anderson.
And I'm Maddie Ide.
There might be no greater honor at Virginia Tech than to have your name engraved on the iconic War Memorial pylons. Recently, due to speculation about the comprehensiveness of the names listed, Virginia Tech is taking submissions in order to find any individuals who might have been overlooked. The Corps of Cadets is foundational to the legacy of Virginia Tech. Its presence on a primarily civilian campus is a unique component of the university. Nothing better depicts the Corps' essence than the War Memorial pylons. They are symbols of courage and service, exemplifying the best in all of us. Each name represents a fellow Hokie who gave the ultimate sacrifice in the line of active duty. However, Virginia Tech recognizes that some names might still be missing, and so it has issued a call in search of them.
But what we thought to do was appropriate, as we've had names surface from the Vietnam era, even World War II, that some people might not be aware. And so we just wanted to make that extra step to make sure that we had broadcast to the widest possible audience, so that if there was a loved one, a member of a family, whose name had not been included, they'd have an opportunity to submit it.
Submissions will be reviewed by the Board of Visitors and the Commandant's staff. They are due May 13th. Eligible candidates must have spent at least 1 year at Virginia Tech and died while serving in a time of conflict. The town of Blacksburg recently passed a new ordinance aimed at loosening restrictions on private chicken keeping.
This has caused a greater reaction throughout the community than most may realize. Newsfeed reporter Josh Gann has more on the story. Josh?
Thanks, Maddie. It's not that unusual for Virginia Tech students to own a dog or cat as a pet. However, one of the quietly popular trends among residents of Blacksburg is to own chickens. After several years of requests from these residents, the town of Blacksburg recently passed an ordinance allowing residents in single-family home neighborhoods to own chickens in their backyards. The ordinance was passed by a 7-0 vote and removes the prior requirement of needing a minimum of 2 acres to own chickens. This new legislation does not come as a surprise to many, because many people were begging for the town council to expand its laws on chicken keeping for quite some time. Blacksburg resident Aaron Worrell fought the old ordinance before and thinks that this new ordinance will benefit Blacksburg.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have been kind of waiting for this to happen. And yeah, I think it really benefits families to get to do something like this. It's fun, it's enriching to your family. And so, yeah, I think it'll be great for Blacksburg.
Some key conditions of the new ordinance include a $30 fee as well as the town prohibiting the owning of roosters. However, these are conditions that the town can live with because this new ordinance has received an overwhelmingly positive reaction. Reporting for the newsfeed, I'm Josh Gann. Back to you at the news desk.
Thanks, Josh. If you have been watching anything on ESPN and its family of networks, you have probably seen the commercials for a new network, launching soon. It's called the ACC Network, and it has many effects here on campus. With the multi-million-dollar studio and control room now complete, the Hokie Vision and ACC Network staff are starting to prep for the full launch of the network in August. Newsfeed reporter Trey Lyle has the story about the crew's first broadcasts.
The Atlantic Coast Conference and ESPN are partnering together to launch the ACC Network, set to debut in August of 2019. But currently, all 15 schools in the conference are preparing for its launch, including here at Virginia Tech. Amanda Rutledge, coordinator for ACC Network, talked about Virginia Tech's role with the network.
Basically, the ACC Network is going to be launched by ESPN, but it's not actually going to be run by ESPN. Each school has their own division of the ACC Network, so our students are actually going to be running all of those broadcasts.
The group that's in charge of all athletics broadcasts, including the ones that'll be on the ACC Network, is Hokie Vision, and they've made many preparations, including a new multimedia facility.
Here in the south end zone of Lane Stadium sits the June Oblinger Schott Media Center, a new multimedia center here for Virginia Tech and the ACC Network that will allow them to broadcast a multitude of games.
There are two different kinds. So there's a linear, which is something that's actually going to end up on TV, ESPNU, ESPN2, and then there is digital, and so all of those get streamed online.
Jed Castro, Assistant Athletic Director for Productions and Multimedia here at Virginia Tech, discussed what is the final preparations the team needs to make as they head to the August launch.
But now it's just about reps. You know, it's kind of like, you know, the football team themselves, where you've got the people in the place in the right spots and you've got depth. You just got to get them practice, and that's what we'll work up to, both with our staff and our students.
The group's first linear broadcast is May 6th. For the newsfeed, I'm Trey Lyle.
And in today's last story, we obviously all know Blacksburg as a college town. However, as the summer season kicks in and most of the students head out, the charm and excitement of the town shines through. For locals and students who choose to stay in Blacksburg over the summer, there is certainly not a lack of things to do. Their Summer Arts Festivals is one of the most popular events that kicks off the summer season and is a joint venture between Virginia Tech and the town. Other festivals include the Lavender Festival in June and the Steppin' Out Street Festival held in August. If you're more of an adventurous person, hiking trails are abundant around Blacksburg and offer the chance to escape daily life. But what is daily life like in Blacksburg over the summer?
It was a lot of locals come out during those festivals, and it's really interesting to see them all, and they always have bands playing and different artist shops open up everywhere.
Choosing to stay in Blacksburg this summer, you can check out the Downtown Blacksburg website or summer.vt.edu for more Hokie summer happenings.
That will wrap up this edition of the Newsfeed. If you have a story idea for the Newsfeed, let us know. Send us an email at thenewsfeednrv@gmail.com. And as always, you can also connect with the Newsfeed on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks for watching. I'm Ben Anderson.
And I'm Maddie Ide.